Hello, this video is about what is new in update 1.15. So the 1.15 update was primarily a optimization and bug fix update. No new content was added, but they fixed a lot of really nice things. So the first one is optimization. The game itself does seem to load a lot faster, and going back to some of my much larger, older saves, it did seem to be running faster than it previously did. It's hard to compare because I can't go back to the old saves, but it does seem to be faster. One of the things I specifically wanted to check is lighting updates. So as you can see from this clip, if I go past my storage system with all the lights on, it does still slow down a bit, but the second I get out of frame, it speeds back up. So everything's not perfect, but it is better than it previously was. The next thing that was added was platform locking and unlocking. Previously, when you had platforms, you could move them around, pick them up, and whatever, and when you attach power cables, they would lock. Now that's done manually. So in this case, I'm locking these two, and now I can't pick them up. But if I unlock this one and grab it and pull it off, it does the same thing that extenders and splitters do, where the power cable will follow the platform now. And you can put it down and lock single platforms so they can't be picked up. I did a check of previous worlds, and it has maintained the lock or unlock status of all the platforms. So it's nice that you don't have to relock all your platforms that are in your world. This also hasn't affected floating platforms. So in this case, you can see here, it's still floating. I can lock it, and then I can stand on it, and I can't grab it anymore. Previously, you would have the problem of if you accidentally grab the platform, you'd have to replace it. So now with the ability to lock it, it is now just permanently there. The next change was about how the terrain tool opens up when you have your backpack open. So previously, if you had pulled out your terrain tool to add stuff to it, and then you closed your backpack immediately, your terrain tool would be out. And also, if you're in this state and then you just close your backpack or you activate the terrain tool, what would happen is you'd pull up a small piece of ground right in front of you. So if you were in the middle of your base, you just basically break your wall or your floor or whatever you've spent a lot of time flattening and making look nice. So that was a nice change. And for the last addition and first bug fix, we have fixing twisted cables and easier cable selection. So a lot of times cables just go a little crazy when you try and attach platforms together. That has been fixed for the most part. As you can see here, this is my resource counter that I built, and it has a lot of cable attachments. And a lot of these are now pretty smooth attachments. It's not 100% because some of these things are really close together and in awkward positions. But for the most part, it's been able to smooth out the connections. And it is also easier to connect cables together. So they changed the, I guess, prioritization or detection radius or what have you of cables, and now it's much easier to get them to snap together. I used to have a lot of trouble where I had medium platform A's with auto arms on them and having trouble connecting the platform under the auto arms. Now that doesn't happen anymore. Another bug fix is the jittering holograms are gone. You may have noticed that if you open your backpack, the holograms for what resource you need and what you're printing kind of went all crazy sometimes. That's been fixed, which is a nice improvement. Wheel clipping. So wheel clipping was a big issue that has been fixed, Previously, the Buggy, in my opinion, was almost unusable because anytime I drove it, the wheel would get stuck into the ground and then I'd have to dig it out, and it just became a whole mess. Now it works a lot better. I've driven around quite a bit and it doesn't seem to have any issues. And even if I force an issue by, say, driving into a wall or into an underground cliff, the wheel will pop underground. But the second I drive it a little bit more, reverse it out of there, it pops back up. So this is not an issue anymore, and it makes the Buggy usable, which is very nice. And then finally, going back to optimization, I figured I'd try and do a relatively large stress test. So I reloaded my save where I tried to blow up DeSolo and redetonated all those explosions. And as you can see, while the game is still struggling, it's actually going a lot faster than previously. So this is real time, and previously I was getting about 1 frame per second, but now it's a little faster than that. And the game actually cleaned up all the issues and started running at a relatively smooth frame rate much quicker than it did before. We still had the graphical glitches where the terrain would pop back in after a little while of moving around, but for the most part, it handled it a lot better than the previous version did. So that is my update on what's new in update 1.15. I have not covered every single fix, as there's a bunch of things about crashing and optimization that are more behind the scenes and one-off scenarios of things breaking. So that is it. If you like the video, please subscribe, and thanks for watching.